This
long meeting.
conference
Was it
will now
decent?
be recorded.
Your meeting?
Yeah.
I'm there.
Eat some.
We know you are.
Is it Jason's birthday again? I don't know where Jason is.
Can you
Cheese pizza.
put in a purchase order for a dozen of those, hello, my name is?
There he goes.
That's the way it needs to be.
Perfect time. Come on up.
I was gonna say, he's early, I should have made it couple late.
You want me to go get him for you?
No.
Okay. I offered, that's all I did.
I know.
Well,
Thanks. I just left the ski jumps. I'm at Kita.
you're at what?
The ski jumps,
Yeah,
at those big pots.
yeah.
And I met their order person
Oh, okay.
and they're working on filling those so I can plant
I'm gonna take quite a bit of stuff,
them. Way more than they had planned for.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Do we have stuff to help them or anything? Okay,
But I did make some phone calls for them and I gave them some leads and
okay.
told them if they really got stuck to call me back because I can get soil, but it would cost about $200 a pot.
They're talking about the big.
Yeah, those things that we could bury bodies in.
Yeah.
What, there's gravel right across the road.
Yeah.
They don't want to make them any heavier than they have to be. They wanted to put a frame in there, so they only have to put the top.
Or like styrofoam.
Okay,
He's out.
you're doing the top.
I'm just doing the top, and they asked me if I would do the greens for winter too. Do we have an issue with that?
Knowing what we're about to go through, you can help them out, you help them out.
Okay.
Is that kind of agreed?
Yeah, for now.
Okay,
But you're talking about just at the mosquitoes.
Are you gonna share
Just
Jason?
yes, just the 6 of the
Which one
speeches.
does it?
Yes.
I didn't have lunch yet.
Right?
Just making sure you're not doing the Christmas decorations for the arena.
I am not doing
all right. I think first I'll let you go if there's anything you'd like to report. And then any questions or anything?
The moms are starting to come in. We're swapping out places that we can, things that, people have dumped their beer in enough so that they don't look good. So the bulk of that order will come this Friday and then probably another small shipment to fill in later. Most of the gardens look like they're in good shape. We've started putting up the brackets in places where we could.
Good.
We're just swimming. We mostly got, like our little compound is mostly the way we need it to be.
Good.
So we've worked a lot on that.
Because Kathy's here and I know you met with her, I'd like between the pair of you to talk about the part of our program that appealed to independent businesses on Main Street
We covered
and
the,
how our first year of budgeting, what kind of shape we're in and stuff. I think that's important.
Gosh, we talked about that like 3 weeks ago.
okay, so I'm gonna sum it up and you correct me if I, so basically what it is we covered the costs that we needed to cover. And it is Kathy's expert opinion that we should leave it that way for at least one more year without making changes.
Okay,
Leaving the structure and the pricing.
Well,
the
we'll
price-
adjust the pricing as it needs to be. I mean,
Because
the
of-
trees just went up $5 a piece. I'm not
Plus
even,
labor costs always go up too.
yeah.
so we'll figure that in.
But
I
you
mean,
did a good job with this year.
So moving forward then with our winter, what you're gonna do, you feel you're covered.
I was feeling a lot more confident until I called to order them and he told me how much the price had gone up.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a little tight, but we're
Listen,
pretty close.
for a first year budget,
We did pretty
you
well.
must feel good about,
I'm very pleased with myself.
Because the town, we budgeted, what did we budget, 40,000 originally? Just for the expense of Sharice taking care of only town properties.
right,
And we have not even hit all of that yet. And everything that she's done extra for the paying customers have more than been covered with.
So you haven't paid anything, like the town
Right.
has not paid for any of your town plants. It was covered in everything else.
But
And I
keep in
covered
mind-
Stephanie and Barrett. So
okay,
Yes, but just keep in mind, this is true for departments, every department. We don't include employee benefits.
right,
So, the health insurance and.
So I covered everything but me.
right. We'll do that.
A good introduction to my question. Can you go over outside of what I'll call private, which means businesses and whatever else.
Yes.
What town properties are you planning
So
to
we
maintain?
do the town hall, Craigwood, the welcome signs, the service signs,
Service.
like the Lions Club sign, the
Okay.
Allegiant sign, Rotary, the lacrosse field, anything we can do to help with horse show grounds, which they have not asked me for anything this year. I helped
You do the
Lisa a little
airport?
bit in the beginning when she needed me.
Well, do you do the airport sign?
Yes, the airport sign, thank you.
Craigwood.
I thought I said that. Did I say that? I thought I said
Yeah.
What
that.
is it?
It's a- there's a lot.
There's a weird one at Craigwood.
Did you do the horse show grounds?
Didn't we,
She doesn't.
early in the year, want Sharice to do some of for us, the horse show grounds? Not necessarily for the horse show, but just to keep the horse show grounds.
You mean after everything shuts down?
Yeah.
Still use quite a bit.
Yeah, true, but I mean, even, starting in the spring, obviously, and through the summer into the fall, so it just looks, obviously, it's not going to
What about
be
that
used by the
triangle?
horse show.
Yes.
I think
But-
Lisa right now is getting paid to do those gardens. So we should work that, I don't want to overstep. I know, she
No,
knows that she can call me if she needs help and
But if
she
there's
did.
any gaps, just, I mean,
Yes.
that is one of our showpieces.
Yep,
As is Craig with
100%.
another.
Yep.
So if there's, this
Yes,
horse show grounds, obviously, I'm being facetious, but is rather large.
yes it
And a
is.
lot of it in the back, people don't see or whatever.
And I think it
But
probably
whatever.
could come into play as we move forward with this master plan.
Right, and
So when we
just.
get our new windows, we can have window boxes.
Here?
Don't push it.
Wait, what floor are we talking about?
Yeah.
I am not hanging on any more.
So just, if there's any gaps. I mean, Lisa's
Okay.
doing certain things.
Yeah.
Yes,
If there's any gaps there that say, oh, this is what Lisa's doing is good, the horse show did this, and it's maintaining itself, but boy, I could use some.
I think if we can identify those areas,
Yeah.
certainly.
is that something that Butch might be able to help with?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then as,
But I mean, even to identify.
Because he knows, I mean, he just knows, like, I guess the shrubs are trimmed by one person that you bring in and that, like,
Yeah.
it's a whole, you guys have a whole
But I
system
mean,
out there.
that's the whole thing, and it's
Yeah.
just, if you can go out. and
I am happy to do that. I
look
just,
at it and go, boy, we got a few vines.
I will say this, I'm guessing part of what you're remembering is initial talks for Sharice to bring in plantings or areas for our youth program to give the kids some life skills.
oh, but I still want to do that.
We talked about
That
that,
was part of it.
yeah,
Maybe connect with Keith Clark,
right.
and then maybe he can help coordinate.
Because initially we talked about being able to utilize the big greenhouse on
Right.
Bearcombe Road.
Right.
And we had too much going on.
No. But I mean, even like with the long building there,
Yes.
and I don't know what's there.
Right,
And,
The long building, the
Yeah.
Spectator Club has barrels in the Grand Prix ring.
Okay.
And then on the other side, like facing away from the road, it has a window box at, I think, between every
Or
two
even-
posts.
I realize that's the viewing area, but even you got this long building facing the road.
Is where the barrels are.
Okay. Just maybe, like I said, there has to be gaps. They may be small, but there has to be gaps that we can beautify.
yeah.
Okay.
Just something to look at.
And we want things to be able to sleep at night. So if we can.
Well, maybe we could start by painting that building.
Actually, that was a good segue because
No, I'm
We-
not done.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna add a
Oh,
question. I have a question after she has a question.
I just wanted to say, like, as your work, because, we're getting close to budget season.
Yes.
The things I would would like you to add is the pickleball area. Like, that needs
Oh.
some serious TLC. It needs your eye and it needs some investment from beautification.
Yes.
So
What is, I know this is, like, what is our season out there? Like, when do people start?
spring to winter.
It's not snowing.
Okay, so this is like Craigwood, like, it's just, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a fresh
And I
palette
think it
out
would
there.
be great, I know this is not under your purview, but you need like benches, right? Like you need some benches for people. And so thinking about where benches could go with
Okay,
what's next to
I will
them.
take does someone want to go out there with me?
I can go out there with you, although I feel like Dick knows it best.
I can do it.
Where's the most local?
Yeah, I'll
Do
go.
you have my phone number?
That was a good one.
Go.
524-2211.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
Would I be wrong by saying if we're having a conversation about what town properties, you should probably, maybe if you could generate a list for the board to be able to, so
Yep.
then we can.
There's one in my laptop, which doesn't help you, but yes, I can email a list.
That'll be fantastic. And my question is, I know we had a cursory conversation a couple months ago about the lead up to maybe decorations during winter time, Christmas / holiday decorations. Has there been any conversation with the village about collaborating or a vision and the town connecting?
Not from me, there has not. Do you want me to do that?
It's not so much me, it's a board.
No.
So we just want
For right now,
to, okay.
yeah.
All right, so in the future, we'll look into that.
I'm gonna just wait until you tell me to go.
Right?
Should I go,
Yes.
Newman Park, is that you?
Yes, I'm sorry, that is me, yes.
I'm not saying that as
No, I
if
agree.
we don't wanna,
No, there's other issues that we need to solve.
yeah.
And I've been knee deep in Chromebooks, I'm just like coming out of it. About this would be.
Okay,
That's all I have.
okay, questions for me or other things?
You started. Did you finish?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, then check. We have to check on each other.
And I heard this.
You want to take a breath around there?
I mean, with some of these heavy rain storms.
I went out to Craigwood to water today and it was blowing so hard the hanging baskets were almost straight out.
Yeah.
It's crazy out there.
Now, of course, this has all been positive, so I gotta give you a negative. That way we're
Maybe you
even
want more
financially.
positive?
Now, the first tee box at Craigwood,
Yes.
that is the
So-
screwiest looking bunch of plants I've ever seen.
Listen, we're lucky that I could get the plant material I needed from the supplier I had to get it from.
So do you agree?
It's the first time I've ever.
So this is what Derek's trying to say, is that.
That's definitely saying that, by the way.
Listen, all the hanging plants, everything out there is great, but then you walk up to that first tee and it's like, either
Can I-
somebody just died there. Come on.
Let's go, we gotta go look.
Okay, I'm gonna
I
go
think it's
back and
my
say
goal.
this diplomatically as I can. Considering how we got them from the supplier we did, you're lucky they look like they do.
Okay, so,
Do I don't have to say it differently.
no, that's
Okay,
perfect.
thank you.
So, and next year it'll be under our ordering.
Yes,
Okay, just fullness, I guess, because everywhere you've been,
I know.
okay,
You don't have to, you also know that that entire thing has to be dug up because I'm planting in road sand, right?
I'm not even sure I agree with leaving things around that first tee.
Is that
No,
new this
Oh,
year?
I don't know.
No,
No, it was,
The first tee, I like the first tee box having flowers there, it just,
It
they
was-
need to be manicured.
Yeah.
They need to look like.
they need
to look-
dirt to grow in.
it needs to look-
Yes,
It's
yes.
the sand.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay, so then we got some work to do.
Okay, so I have a question before I leave you. I hear that there is a big tournament there the second week of September.
You weren't kidding.
Okay, is
Let
it?
me see if it's in there, just gonna.
Is
Emily's
it?
in it.
I don't know what usually happens there. That to me says you need to put mums in for fall. Is that,
Well, boy, the season can go anywhere from the 10th or the 12th of October, a little past Columbus Day, but rarely past the 18th or 19th. So you're gonna be putting them in for barely,
less than a month?
yeah, well, a good month.
A good one.
Month,
So,
yes, at least.
so in maybe a limited amount, sure, make a presence out there, but I wouldn't go hog wild because
Okay.
the season starts dwindling.
Hey, I've seen people golfing out there in January.
Oh, I know.
Those people
What do
are
you think?
crazy.
I would just say don't go crazy with them because it's
You
really a
guys?
limited season.
Yeah, I think they need it. I think we need to put mums out
Yeah.
there, but nothing like we would.
Not like
floor
we
out
did
there in the
with.
Summertime.
Okay.
Yeah.
First tee, 2 mums, bail ahead.
Are people okay with the scarecrow? Or maybe
It's
I
all
could,
that's sponsored by
maybe I could just pull that out, start digging all the dirt out and just leave it a nice layer of mulch in the first tee for the fall.
Great.
So that it's all ready to plant in spring because it's really bad right now.
And Matt might ask.
And then we can just maintain it next year, right, into the.
Oh, I'm sure he probably has. He had a whole pallet laying around down there.
All right,
So
so,
do you need me for anything
no,
else?
we're good.
Anybody? You're gonna call me
Thank you.
tomorrow? Okay.
Good.
Thank you, I'm going to get
Good
school
luck with school
supplies.
supplies.
Thank you very much.
I'm on it.
Thank you guys.
Come on up, ladies.
No shopping.
Electric.
All right.
Oh, I see.
I don't know where we want to start with this. I
Well,
don't know how to start with
Yeah,
it.
yeah. What do you think about flowers?
That's your thing.
so listen, I'm sure you all know I invited Brad here to talk to us about efforts he's undergoing right now and where we'll be very shortly in the future once we understand where infrastructure concerns are. Not only in the village, but because all of our districts are shared. And, you know, the building end of things that are happening are in the town outside the village. But we depend on village infrastructure to support everything we're gonna do. So I thought the timing was good for Brad to give us this little pep talk.
Well, I was gonna say, why don't we cover things that are first about existing stuff and not about development, and that's Rougemont, because I don't
Yeah.
remember the last time we talked about Rougemont.
Well, yeah, Rougemont is probably your most pressing sewer issue that you have right now. I don't even say how it can be fixed other than lining.
Which is fine though, because that works.
Correct, as long as you don't do too much more building out there. And
I was gonna ask, is there a lot of
Capacity.
potential building up there?
Yeah, what's been out there?
Well, yeah, well, if you go out there, there's been a lot of things built on properties. You know, in the past, they had these big houses with big pieces of property. Well, whoever, they've chopped them up, they've built quite a bit out there. And it's causing an issue for the sewer out there. And that one's always been an issue. That's something that really needs to be addressed, going to water and sewer here. The other one is Beach Hill. That's a big, huge issue. I know the electric department has power problems up there right now. They're wanting to replace a bunch of electrical lines. One section I just looked at today, I think they can get it that far enough out of the way where it won't impede putting water lines in the future.
Is that all buried power up there?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So, and when it was done, everything is in the same ditch, water, sewer, and electric. It's a mess. So that's something that I brought up
Yeah,
several times.
and we've already agreed, when you wanna do it, we do it jointly.
Yeah, well, we're probably, hopefully next year, we're gonna try to do our section up around the corner. Where you go in and go to the right, up around that first bend, we'll try to do that in-house. And then we'll have to discuss whether or not we try to continue ourselves or if it's something you're going to bid for. We'll have to look at it at that time.
When you're ready to talk about it, I
Yeah.
mean, if it's something you can continue on and we,
That's what we're hoping to do, maybe piecemeal it around the thing. It
No
won't be
sense
all,
in stopping.
well, there won't be any,
Yeah.
I don't think we'll be able to do it in 1 year just because of everything else going on, but at least get a portion of it knocked out.
what side is the dangerous deep part of it?
It's that whole loop. That's the first loop part.
It's
It's
all
like a,
down 12 feet or better?
yeah,
Oh,
it doesn't make any sense, that whole loop. Once you turn into, you go up to the village and then you take the turn onto, I always forget the name of that, whatever the other loop is.
yeah,
That is much newer. That section's all ductile iron and it's at the right depth. It's just the original section that I believe Mrs. Jones did.
that's right.
So that's the section that's crazy deep and it was put in with inferior pipe at the time.
Okay,
When it was put in, it shouldn't have been cast iron pipe, but it was. Probably something somebody had sitting around, yes. So those two issues are your most pressing, other than, I know Dakota's been pushing the town for, we had a discussion about modeling the system, how much it was gonna cost to do a model. I don't know if Derek filled you in on that. If the Swazos do a model of our system and then the village gets involved, it will be water and sewer and it will like pinpoint deficiencies and it will also pinpoint areas that could sustain development. Like there's areas and won't need, I think that's one of your biggest things is looking at that section because that has a lot of infiltration. We did a flow study on the village lines. A lot of them were right at the town village line because we're looking for grant funding for the wastewater plant. That's
and
why
I
we
think
did it.
Mark Swazzle's looking for that grant.
Correct. And they did indicate that just by the flows that were indicated, that line there has substantial amount of infiltration. So you can see it with the weather, when the weather's rainy and which we've had a lot of that. or snow melt, that area really picks up.
Where is that?
Um,
I'm sorry.
It'll basically be from Saranac Sourdough
Okay,
up to the end of Whiteface Inn Road,
okay.
because that line cuts through the Hojo's.
The lift
Parking lot.
station.
Well, the lift station pumps up to it, but it goes up through the parking lot, through the woods, down through where Dakota wants to develop, all the way across the outlet of Lake Placid Lake, and all the way up to, it'll be McCutcheon's, but I don't think it's McCutcheon's anymore. Merton, is that what it is?
We'll see.
But
Right?
that
I
line
know
is
that.
probably
I know who's
one of our
sold it.
biggest issues. That leads us to the latest one, with the project that's up here around Mirror Lake. It's just something that needs to be looked at. I don't think this project is gonna, I think the sewer could sustain this one project. This is something that needs to be looked at. That we can't just keep.
Continue.
Correct.
But you're talking about sewer lines, not the sewer plant.
Sewer lines.
Yeah.
Plant, we have an upgrade coming. We have some grants already, and that's what we were doing, the flow study. We're trying to, the sewer plant will be fine, water plant is fine. We have no capacity issues of treating or supplying water or sewer. Our problem is all the collection lines. Just now, this line around the lake, we went up, we started cammering yesterday, started cleaning. Some of the areas, we believe them to be at a grade. It looks like one section through there where it comes down by Northwood School and goes down to the lake. That section seems to be, maybe it was replaced, must have been a long time ago, because myself or Ricky don't remember it being replaced.
You're talking about sewer now.
Sewer. So that
This
was,
is it, it's settled, you mean?
that's what it looks like, because the camera goes underwater and then back out. And we jetted it and tried to see if it was something
So that gives you a stagnant plug.
correct.
Yeah.
So that's being looked at, but it does appear to be plastic, so, which,
You're kidding.
yeah.
Oh, mine is plastic?
Well, in that section, it looks like that's why we think it was replaced. And whenever it was replaced, maybe it wasn't compacted properly or something.
Yeah.
But that's just one issue. The rest of the line surprisingly isn't as bad as we thought it would be. There's a few other issues that we have. There's a few houses that have built over, like decks over it and stuff. That lines we couldn't find, that we finally got in there and looked at. One of them, we know where the location is now, but it's built over. But what we're looking at is maybe going forward is these people doing these developments, either they're gonna have to start doing studies and find these things. That's one thing that needs to happen. And I talked with Mike a little bit about this, about maybe we need to put this in something where this is just part of the application, or this is part of the code, or whatever we need to do to, so they understand that going into it.
Because all that's required right now is a sign on from you.
I'm suggesting you guys come up and change the code so that it's a requirement, not just the.
Not just the sign on, you want an actual study.
Yeah, because
The applicant has to pay for it,
Yeah.
do it, and that's,
it's like with me, you go up and you look at it, and there's never, I don't believe there's ever gonna be an issue where a house or something like that is gonna put one of our sewers over the limit.
Right.
It's something major that happened. Correct. And then we just have to look out that we're not adversely affecting people that are already connected. And that's something that should be looked at. It should be paid for by the developers. I know there's been some talk with this latest one around Mirror Lake, that they don't need a seeker review.
that's not true.
Yeah, so it's not true. Yeah, I didn't
It's
think
not,
so.
it's not necessary at this time because it's a zoning change.
But
When the actual project is presented, there will be a seeker determined.
so you're gonna change the zoning and then you're gonna request
I'm
a
not
seeker?
kidding.
No, but when they, isn't that
If it
gonna
gets
happen?
changed and they come back with a project, when that project is presented and goes before the review board, there will be a seeker determined.
But isn't that kind of backwards?
I would think so.
That's the way they've been.
I'm looking at
No, change it and then you're gonna
It's
say,
typical from what we
Required
usually.
seeker.
No.
It's only the project after.
You actually build something. Right now, you're just changing a map.
Right.
Okay, what about a local law needing
Well-
a seeker? Because it is a local, we're amending a
Yeah.
local law,
True.
and amending a local law requires seeker.
Yeah, which I think, right, Tim always says the answers are pretty much always no.
Yeah.
Is it type 1 or type 2, you know?
I think it's the easier one, not just the
It's
zoning
really not gonna-
change.
it's really not
but
gonna
it's
do
the
anything if you
complicated one,
say,
the second one.
the seeker's not always out there. At this level, when it comes before the board, it's all automatically, everything that we have to do, have to go through to make sure that this is gonna work. The adverse.
No, so that's,
What was your concern about that, though?
no, I would just, it would be nice to have it reviewed, maybe before the change is done, but I guess you can change that.
I got a question about infiltration. Even though the main line runs all the way to Whiteface, Whiteface has a combination of gravity and pressurized.
Yep.
Isn't there's also a lateral that intersects that from Peninsula?
Correct.
Yeah, they're two different.
Yes.
Can you determine which way the infiltration is coming from?
That's what, when we talked to Kathy in that meeting,
Yeah, they're gonna,
that's what that would be.
is that part of the
if we-
modeling?
Yes,
Okay.
if we were to move forward with that, with the, whatever the cost was, she gave us a couple costs that day.
They thought 50 grand?
Yes.
Yeah.
That if they move forward with modeling it, they would move the meters, they would narrow in on those areas. Right now,
Okay,
we got a meter at Saranac Sourdough, so we can see the fluctuation. We don't know where it is. It's upstream of,
okay, so
Saranac
at least we've
Sourdough.
got a stop point, now we gotta go.
we know it's that way is
Okay.
where the infiltration problem is. So obviously it could be, it's not just pipe, it's not just the manholes, it's also the pipes, it's clay pipes,
Sure.
roof intrusion,
Joints.
cracked joints, water table come up, groundwater level getting into the pipes. It's been an issue. We've done a lot of it over the years. We've replaced manholes, latest we've gone in and we've actually cemented some of the things where we knew there was problems. So that's one thing that's gonna need to be looked at.
Is there much variance in the diameter of different sewers? Or is it all standard 8 and 10 inch?
No, normally what happens is, say something like Whiteface and starts out 8 or 10, a little further down the line goes to 12,
Yeah,
gets down a little bit farther. Like the Whiteface inline is 12 most of the way, all the way until it gets
and the
to,
pressurized parts are only 2 inch.
and some bigger,
Yeah,
4-inch pressure
Yeah.
lines, but runs 12 till it gets, I think, around McKinley Street, then jumps to 15.
okay,
And that's what it does on it. But like around the lake, it's 10 inch. Surprisingly, not as bad. Right now, even with the weather we've had, we were running half a pipe other than the areas that were underwater, but we're still investigating that. It's just something that going forward.
can you
How much
give an example for the board, like, what would tip you into saying, we've built enough? Like, I'm gonna use the example of the peaks. 300 units go in there, and the flow is 30,000 gallons a day. You already know that if that's gonna move forward, you need a lift station.
Oh, great. The lift station's
An
there.
upgrade.
Yep.
So in our laws right now, we don't have anything mandatory, but you've already, like, said to that project, it can't move forward unless this happens.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, that was in, to get APA and Department of Health, there was a stipulation in the letter that was sent that said they needed a booster station to maintain proper pressure, and they needed to upgrade the lift station to handle the increased
okay.
collection.
So much like this Dakota, we could expect a report from Swazo that might say the volume that's coming downstream, but it would be affected by that same lift station, wouldn't it?
Well, it depends where you
Maybe I'm
want
not
to
asking the
hook.
question right.
If you're talking about where Dakota's hooking on, Dakota can either hook on the gravity sewer that comes from the end of Whiteface in,
Yeah,
or if they went through the Hannaford's Plaza, then it would go to the lift station.
okay,
But the lift station affects this sewer downstream, no matter where they connect.
right,
The lift station would pump just down from where Dakota would be hooking, so a little further down the line, they're both together.
okay,
So they affect each other no matter what.
that's right.
That's the problem you have, is that line runs all the way down and everything collects on that end of the town, on
And
that
down
sewer.
West Valley Road.
Yes.
Does the sewer line around the lake join in there anywhere?
No, that sewer
That's
line,
separate?
yes, the only
Okay.
time they join together is when they get to the bottom of Mill Pond Drive meets 73. That's where this line, this development and that development would connect, is only on those two spots. And then it goes to the plant, and that's all new. So
Right.
there's no issues down Mill Pond Drive. That's new. And new trunk sewer line all the way to the plant.
Yeah.
So that's all new. Our issue that we have with this one is this section of sewer, even though the road's done, the water main's done, this sewer line wasn't lined from the red light to post office, and that's slated sometime. Right now, we just can't add any more debt to the sewer. We just can't. That's why, we already have, probably be having a pretty good sewer rate increase. It's gonna go up just to cover the cost of the upgrades at the plant. So right now, we didn't feel we wanted to go out here and raise anything any higher. Because it's more and more expensive.
They were historically low for a very long time.
Correct, they were.
It's incrementally trying to build up.
Yeah, that was the thing. They didn't do small increases. The huge amounts of time went by before we did increases. I argued that for years and years and years, but that's where we are, and it's gonna go up again here just to cover the debt service on what we have. That's what we're doing it for.
Do you want to remind this board in very basic terms, we won't hold you to, like what we could be looking at Roussillon? It's a big number.
To line that, well, just rough numbers. I have a lining company coming in on the 5th to do the outlet from Parkside right here off the edge of Parkside over to the Oval. It's 130,000.
And we got 4,000 feet over there or more.
Yeah, but it's much smaller, but that's just, a couple hundred feet of pipe, but that is emergency because the pipe is about ready to
In
collapse.
basic terms, that's $300,000 to $400,000.
I would say it's gonna be a lot more than that to do that whole thing, just to get in there, because that line there, we've cleaned it, we've done everything. You've still got a clean camera, because this line here, there's no connections. You put a liner in, you swell the liner up, it hardens, you open each end of it up, you're done. Any sewer line like that, they gotta go back in, cut all the laterals out. They gotta line it, back in, cut it, they do it in sections. I bet you it's $1 million plus to do that line.
That's gonna be something.
So, but we have a unified sewer district, so can't the sewer district take on the debt?
Well, that would be a question for Kathy. If you have a consolidated sewer district, so any debt that is taken on by the sewer district, you can spread out over
Everyone.
benefit charge over everyone. The other option is I could request that the village increase the town sewer higher
Rates.
rates, and we cover it with rates, and it just rate as your
But rates for everyone.
well, it would be the town.
It's the town.
Because it would be doing work in the town. So that's where we are with that. But back to the main thing is, going forward, what we're looking at is maybe there's going to be code change, maybe something that goes on telling developers up front that any project over a certain size and needs to be, or money needs to be collected for future upgrades, maybe to get it from them people, so you're not taxing town people that are already out there.
Right.
That might be where this needs to go. There might be sections of this line that you find that need to be replaced, and is the town willing to take that on to fix it for them, or are they gonna have to fix it? That's really.
Okay.
That's a heavy lift for the town taxpayer.
It's a heavier lift if it ruptures.
Yeah. That's,
Well, I'm saying if we
that's the
add
thing.
new
Oh,
development
yeah,
onto
for
it,
sure.
it's like, it's not unfair.
That's my main concern, is that if, right out here, if suddenly there's 2 or 3 developments rupture a sewer pipe out here, that's our responsibility,
Right.
even though it's in the village, but village didn't add anything on, we did.
Yeah, that's where we're kind of caught right now, is because no matter where it is, I know it's in the town, you're responsible for the town sewer lines, but ultimately it comes to the village. And we have upgrades that, I mean, we've done a lot of upgrades, you gotta, I mean, so we're pretty good once we get to a certain point. It's just that there's so many things that were neglected for so many years. And I think that you either have to slow down on how fast things are being built or developed so that you can pick at it, or you're gonna have to ask the people that are doing the developing to pitch in to help fix it.
It's not an unreasonable question.
I think developers deal with that all the time in other places.
In other places,
They're
yes.
expected to either put
Yes.
into a pool for infrastructure or
Correct.
they're upgrading infrastructure themselves.
Correct.
Can you ask that company to do, because we don't actually have an official quote for Roussillon for the line.
No,
Because you said someone's coming to do this.
yes,
Can you ask them to do that?
I can ask him to look at it. Yeah, actually, he can, when he comes up on Tuesday, I'll take him up and show him where we have it. I know we had it mapped out on GIS mapping so that we can kind of show him, he can give us rough numbers. It's not a real big job, you know, it's a big, long job, but it's actually probably something that's easier for him to do than even probably this line out here.
Is there more than 24 laterals to get in there and have to clean up? Is there 40, 50?
I don't know, you'd have to look at it, there's a lot of people on that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a lot. And it's in odd locations.
but that's where all the work is after you line it.
After you line it and going in and cutting out all the laterals with the little
Yeah,
tractor. And then hoping you can get through.
I was envisioning a little camera with a saw.
That's what it is.
that's what it is.
Okay, but you said tractor.
It's a little camera on a little tractor.
Okay.
It has a cover head on it, like a little Dremel tool.
I was like, I don't.
There's 3 people on it, yeah, shrink them down.
It's, yeah, it's nothing for the company to do this. This company that we're bringing in is the company that did Main Street for us.
Yeah,
So we've had good luck with them.
What's the company name?
Kenyon Pipe.
You put a lot of new laterals in that Main Street. How many old laterals did you mean? Did they say?
So I was like,
Because they did it in sections. So it was like-
Yeah, they did a lot of, I mean, up there, I don't even know, there had to be 50 connections that they sought out Main Street. Because there's 2 sewer lines, there's a 15-inch and there's an 8-inch. But that's where we are. I don't know, it's gonna be something that's gonna be a tough decision. But thank God that right now, I think you're still okay. But it's gonna have to be looked at.
I don't think gambling with sewer is the best thing.
Especially not so close.
Never ends well.
And we're okay to get it tomorrow, I mean, that,
before I let you, oh, no, go ahead.
So the things you brought up, so that was like my next step for Roussillon was you're gonna ask Kenyon to look at it, and then Kathy can school us and all the possible ways to pay for it. But the code changes, you said you talked to Darcy and Mike. Does there need to be more conversation? Like,
They're up on that more than I am.
yeah, but I'm just saying, I'm not gonna write the code change.
Mike will.
Checking or I don't know. I mean, right now we require letters. If we require letters, we require actual investigation, whatever.
Yeah, what's it
whatever's
called?
necessary.
What's it like, is it called the sewer study?
What they wanted to do was model our sewer to begin with. They call it modeling. That's what I guess they call it now.
So they can
What do they
define
model?
areas.
When they model it? 'Cause I was-
When they model it, it'll be size of the pipes. They'll have meters in there showing like times of the year when there's surcharging in manholes.
Mhm.
They'll inspect all the manholes and make sure the manholes can even handle it. They're not gonna collapse. They'll do the flows at the time of the years.
So you're just collecting a bunch of
A
data.
bunch of data, and then they can, where it's headed, you know, what I mean, what lines it's eventually getting to, whether there's pump stations in there. And then the other thing was, they're gonna cut the price way back. They said 50,000, but they didn't realize I was doing the flowing on the hydrants. Like I told them. That's a huge portion of it. And they also wanna do the model of the water system, which we're gonna do a lot of that. I'm not so concerned about the water system, because that's something that's much simpler to find out if you have enough water. but the sewage system's pretty difficult, just because of the age.
But they tie this data to a GIS map, so.
It'll be all GIS mapped, and then it'll be like, I mean, there's some of the data they showed us, you saw what it was. Right now, looking at it, even though it's not much help to us right now, you saw what it was. It wasn't much help. You have to have more information, just showing spikes and things like that, but they can correlate them. They were still going back to look at whether weather was playing a factor with all this, or was it was it events going on in Lake Placid that were creating this? They haven't tied what was going on the calendar to the flows yet.
So a true,
Yeah.
not just a model, but as far as the model when.
Yes, when.
Peaks and valleys.
Because there's all kinds of things you can do if that happens to be that it's peaked because of things. We talked about this with the Peaks project, was holding the sewer on site, discharging it with their own lift station at midnight.
Yeah,
As the flow can take it.
Right, yeah.
There's that type of stuff that.
Minimum time, just minimum flow. Yeah.
So we went to the next level of the infrastructure component.
But then this model, if you were to do this model, is you have a model, you see where in the town you have adequate water and sewer, the village has the capacity to handle it. You could say that part over there, when something like this comes up on that simple, we can give them the go ahead and build. When you get over here, okay, it's a little more difficult. These are the problems that we have, and are you willing to fix them, or are you willing to help pitch in to fix them? That's what that is all.
Right. And like you said, Emily, all these, if developers come in, it's not on a single basis, it's just feed a pool, and we got a pool of money.
And it's really critical info for us as we try to look down the road.
Yes.
Yeah, we either can preserve or was it smart growth, whatever that.
I think Mark Swazo even said he could predict maximum capacity for us
Correct, yeah.
through these flow
I
meters.
mean, they could come in and give you the same thing they gave us. They'd be
Yeah.
happy to.
Yeah.
Is Dakota moving forward with, they're paying for that modeling? They're not.
No, that's something that I think needs to be talked about, whether they're gonna pitch in.
I thought they said they were gonna.
They would pay for a flow study if the Swazos had to deal with it. The only thing is, the Swazos have told us they have the data from my flow study at Saranac Sourdough. They don't really know putting a meter 400 yards up the road is gonna really change much. We have the data of that. The only issue is if the pipe is perfect and you have a 12-inch pipe and the flow data, is it right? They say the flow is not gonna help that as much as we gotta go in and make sure that everything is flowing properly. Is things, when you get that flow, is it backing up in manholes? Because the location of our flow meter might have been, it's showing flows, but it's not showing what's happening in that line upstream. That's what they said you needed to look at.
And I don't think a secret report, or even a full-blown secret would have touched what you were talking about, so
It won't.
they're not connected, so.
No.
People keep going, oh, it's a little secret.
All right.
But the only thing is, with a secret, they will ask for me to.
Right, you'll get involved.
I'll have to get involved, and I'll have to
Or negative.
have this.
You can
type of-
control the conversation.
Correct. That's what. But in the same thing, I don't think you're gonna have an issue really controlling anything on that one.
It's more like you're reaching the breaking point.
Correct. Well, or you don't want to reach the breaking point and then
Yeah.
find out that you got there. You'd like to know it before
Right.
you got there. I mean, this stuff, if we did model the systems, it'd be great data for you in your office to have. They can look at
I
stuff
mean,
like
it sounds
this.
like a crazy use of leaf funds. Tourists really are concerned about modeling the system.
I read on Facebook.
Well, actually,
But it does relate to like,
Economic, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I can
Economic.
relate everything to the Brad, don't worry about it.
perfect.
Brad, are you involved with the drawings on the dam work on Lake Placid?
I just asked a few questions.
Okay.
Um,
You know, we're gonna, as a board, try to determine
they were asking
our
for some-
contribution.
Yeah, I heard that.
And I think you mentioned to me, the important about sustaining that dam is that a good section of that sewer line runs downstream
Just
along there.
below it. Yeah.
And any default of that dam could come back to haunt us big time. So at least being involved in its security is,
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever been there, there's a manhole on each side right below that dam that you can see. And that pipe is just under that
right.
bottom of the river.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
outlet.
Okay.
Yes.
For the dam.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for
Well-
taking time.
Yeah.
Thanks, very informative. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, so,
Not like we're done with you, buddy. We'll keep
No.
Yeah,
bugging you every
that was
day.
just one thing.
And by the way, outside of your job for the village, everything you do for us in the town is appreciated.
Oh, yeah.
no problem.
Oh, yeah.
No,
All right,
you're
thank
on
you.
good ship now. Yes.
Yeah, you do, hopefully.
Yeah.
We're a relaxed bunch here.
See you later.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brett.
Okay, I'm gonna jump on the agenda just quick. I'm gonna let Chelsea come up because she has good questions, and then we'll resume.
1, 2,
But you can be long-winded. I know.
Yeah, no, this one's quick.
What do you got going on?
Well, we're halfway through the end of our season.
Halfway through the end.
Halfway through the end, so we got Camp Plaza is over.
Yeah.
Camp Plaza is over, sports camp is over, both very successful. We still have Crentwood going, our big invitational next weekend, so we're busy with that, and the beach is still going until Monday. They'll start pulling the buoys and docks. and all
When it's
that.
84 degrees.
Yeah, well, not till after 6.
don't trigger, I'm like, I'm very.
I should say Monday evening they'll start. But they don't start school until the 7th, so we do have Janine, who's a teacher, and some volunteer lifeguards that are high school students who will go Tuesday and pull the rest out and get everything cleaned up. So they're doing well. They are wearing their new lifeguard apparel.
Oh, they'll be wearing sweatshirts soon.
Yeah, yeah. And next year, Janine is finishing up on some revisions to what we discussed with Emily earlier this season, just rules and regulations.
And I think Rick wanted some input on that too, so we
Yeah,
can
so
share that document.
I'm gonna print out or I'll send it to everybody, what she's been working on, and she's revised it quite a bit just since we've talked. And then everyone can put input, and her and Emily are gonna work closer next year on finding a bathing suit that is
Just a uniform.
a uniform, like basic.
Yeah.
I actually went to the Watkins Glen State Park pool just to get a glimpse at what the other beaches and
What's
bathing
this lady
suits and
keep
stuff.
staring?
Yeah. So it's very interesting at state parks because they have one pieces, and then the state park employees who are more also lifeguards, but more like they go about and just check every area, have to wear short sleeve green shirts and khaki shorts. So they're on stand in that outfit. And I think our lifeguards are pretty lucky with what we've provided and with what they've gotten away with thus far. So next year that'll be involved in that revision to the, I think she called it an EAP of some sort. So that will be involved in that. And then it will be created really as a policy because it's not something we had.
Yeah, and I was just saying, like, right now, it like lives with Janine, where it should live with us.
Yeah, so that, and then it will be our document to have and adjust to. And then she'll keep a copy, and every lifeguard will receive a copy, and they actually sign it. So, well, that's what she had him do before. We can continue that. So other than that, the beach has been very successful as always. Ironman went well, everything went well. And Camp Placid was good. We had big numbers all year. Sports camp was great. I think we should continue that because we worked with so many different people. We worked with the school. We worked with a bunch of different Orta venues. And before that, Emily had actually gotten me in touch with somebody from CMDA. So next year for Camp Placid, we can have the younger group of kids actually be able to go on a trip that isn't going to cost us any money.
That's free. I was like, why are you guys doing this free thing?
Yeah, so I've been in touch with Tara Palin from CMDA on scheduling stuff.
You're dating yourself with CMPA.
I know,
What's that?
Chelsea.
I know, sorry, I know, sorry.
Yeah.
Stuck in there.
It is.
LPCA.
There we go.
So we're going to, start doing things like that next year. It's not going to cost us any money, and the little kids love that stuff. And then for the older kids, we were in touch with Jamie Campbell from over at the ski jumps, and we're going to do the older kids the Wet and Wild Wednesday shows, where we can go over and walk over, another free thing too. And we'll walk over, and they'll do the chairlift and watch the show. So we can add in a couple of trips besides the beach, which will be nice and not cost us any money. That's always a plus. But those are the only big additions probably that we'll have for camp, so our budget will be the same. And then, yeah, we have the big Craigwood coming up.
Is this our biggest year for memberships?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
The town.
At 219 is your.
I was going to say numbers or in finance.
Yeah.
No, because it's still cheaper at our
So
rate. It's
it's
still
budget.
cheaper to buy it if you're gonna be here for a week than to go to
Yeah.
all the other
It's
courses.
2 times, right?
And that's what people are like, oh, I'll just come here all week.
So what proportion, I think we touched on this before, so, I mean, a number of people got into 199.
Yeah,
What's the proportion, 199, 219?
I can actually print, off the top of my head, I have no idea. But we can print it.
You mean like who bought it at 199 this year versus 219?
Yeah.
I would say it's probably a 40-60 split, just off the top of my head.
Which way? 40?
40%, 199, 60, 219.
Really?
Yeah, because we're still getting membership.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be.
Because like I said, people come for 7 days and they are like, we just want to play, but we're gonna go to all these different courses. Like, oh, it's gonna cost us how much? Never mind, we'll come here for the week. So that's why we've been pulling in those. But I would say that, yeah, all of our members who got it for $199 last year, that came back and didn't get that price, did not give us a hard time about $219.
And obviously, they're putting the word out there, but are the people that are talking to people, are they upselling? Are 100% of our people, in the golf house and everything, upselling? If you're gonna be here for a while, it's $219 as opposed to, not saying anything. Are they upselling?
Yeah,
They are. Okay.
yeah.
I met yesterday with Jeff and a representative from EasyGo
Okay.
Cards.
Yep.
Which I'm sure, I think I told you all, is a subsidiary of Textron.
That's
Who
right.
is Scott Donnelly, that's head of Shore Owners Association, who golfs at Craigwood all the time, and asked, I'd like to be represented here. So he put the word out to his people, and they've given a pretty attractive
Electric?
lease. Well, now listen.
That's a good question. I love, you're not asking it.
Campus
You're
publicity.
Good question.
But,
love it.
but I can't give you the credit, I have to give her
Oh.
the credit.
Of course.
Yeah, because that was,
I just asked the question. She just demanding.
but not electric.
If it's Craigwood.
What we are proposing, we're waiting to get in 4 electric carts and use them throughout next year. And even looking into either plug-in charging or even a solar thing that could charge them.
But they need
You
a
have-
covering. They
Yeah, you have to have a pole barn.
Yeah, well, we could allocate area under the deck in the back.
Good.
4.
4.
Oh, 4.
Yeah,
I get rid of my fleet here.
We should get at least 5 and name them each of them.
So what do I pay for the electric charge?
What's that?
Who's gonna pay for the extra electricity?
Sounds like a.
Well, it will save money, it's cheaper than fuel.
Yeah, it costs you, the electric cards are $5 more than the gas.
Okay.
Yeah,
That works.
And somebody will go, charging me, good, they've got electric, I'll pay it.
But anyway, it's not a dumb diesel.
No.
We're bidding with all the companies.
Wait, sorry, because our lease is not up.
Yes,
Yeah,
It is up.
it is up.
yep, so this is the optimum year to change if we're gonna.
So we're gonna sign another 3 to 5 year lease with all non-electric cards but 4?
Yeah, unless, how much of that leaf money have you got? For,
Save it for your sewer lining.
but I mean, we'd have to build a roof, I mean, it's.
You could do that in-house.
Maybe we could just do a 3-year lease.
What's that?
Just a 3-year, not 3 to 5, just 3.
I asked.
It's a start, it's a start.
I asked if we could amend their lease if this conversation comes up again. So yeah, there are provisions to get out if you find the money.
We can increase by 1 a year.
But we need the pole barn. But they can.
And then where does
They
it
can
go?
build the pole barn.
Yeah.
There's a plenty of space down where
Right
those
here.
dead tractors are. What the hell are they doing?
Well, no, what are you
What about
gonna
the
do?
tee box? The first tee box?
What are you gonna walk down there to get their cart?
Yeah.
No, some staff has to run them up. Don't they have to go down there to get gas? Where's their gas tank?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
One person does that down and back.
Yeah.
So they would just be running them down at the end of the day?
Yeah, essentially that is exactly what, that would be the same thing.
Further discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Okay,
But other than that,
thanks, Chelsea, keep going.
other than that, Craigwood, that's
So
done well.
the bottom line is, with a wicked rainy summer, we were very successful.
We were, yep. And I haven't really seen any invitational numbers coming in because I do not have, unless I put them in directly to the bank.
Right.
So I think Jeff is having everybody pay out there.
I haven't seen any
Yeah, they
invitations
haven't
yet
come
either.
in. So I think he's having everybody pay out there and even pay when you get here, just to keep it in one terminal.
Right.
So, so we'll see all that at one time. So we don't really know how we do until the end of next weekend.
Okay.
But it's usually the same people every year.
Good.
So we know that's gonna be well, and that's really it for now. We have, obviously, Barbecue Festival is gonna be down at the Horse Show again. We provide a lot of the inventory for that, and Dimitri and Butch work on that, and I think that's what he's been busy doing down there with him. And he had somebody delivered today, but they ended up at Joe's, so I wonder how that went, because he was on the side of the road on the boat. But I did stick around, so other than that, they're getting the tents up and they're getting everything delivered. Don't know when the music is this year, but
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I saw it in the paper.
I don't
Yes,
know.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot, but I don't know.
11, I think I
Last year was, he had like a big
I don't think
deal.
they have a big one.
Okay, good. I think it's better that way. It does seem,
They asked me for that.
that's why I think 11 is good, then people can do a few things. And
but the important thing is the wrestling's coming back.
oh, they are?
2 shows. 2 shows? Ooh.
I thought we were gonna somehow figure out who was coming and say yes or no. That must not have happened.
We did have a conversation.
We did. That must not have happened.
Was that related to Dimitri?
That's too bad. Well, other than that, it should be good. So next month I'll have a wrap up of everything and what we have looking forward to toboggan.
I think our stuff came in today, sound system and lights for
Oh.
toboggan.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Just in time.
Some of it's up in my office.
Okay.
It's come in different shipments.
Sounds
But
good.
has Kevin gotten back to you?
Oh, yeah, end of September, early October, as soon as I can get them.
Let me know and I'll give him my apprentice license.
I offered mine too, so you'll be the first assistant,
I'd
I'll
like
be
to
the
see-
second.
I'd like to put a couple of lights up to see if that
The
20,
radius?
if that funny 20-foot spread is the truth
Good idea.
before we put them
All
on.
right. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Todd, come on up, Deb. Now, I did print.
You follow sewer?
Well, with my mundane stuff, I can, if time is an issue.
Oh, it's never here.
So, we've been hitting the road for just a circular recollection of data. We look at the average date of last physical inspection on any particular street. If it's old, we've got to go back, make sure it's nice and fresh for the state. So I pull out for the assessment that they'll give us money for doing such a wonderful job. And if our stuff is more than 6 years since we've looked at it, it won't be a good job. And in my opinion, if we've had this 3 or 4 years, it's not good.
How much data? Like, I mean,
4,500 residential, 4,500 physical parcels.
who?
So we're just going around in a circle, the oldest ones, we come back, we look at them again, find the decks that didn't get permitted and things like that. And
So it's all exterior?
generally, if it's obvious that we can talk to a homeowner and not a renter,
Okay,
a short-term renter
I
in
got you.
particular, then we'll chat with them and say, you still have the same bedroom count, still have the same bathroom count, that sort of thing.
I got you.
So yeah, we're just doing that, and you can tell places that are more active, or frankly, things that are about to sell or just did sell, they're the ones that get all the action.
Right,
They get the new decks, they get the upgrade of condition, that sort of thing, new windows, that sort of stuff. And so we look for grade condition, inventory counts. Oh, Nice new garage, didn't know about that, okay, oh, the garage is gone, get rid of it. So, and that's all well and good, but every once in a while, someone gets upset. And at least one of you has got a call, I think,
That'd be me.
about me being on the sidewalk, public right of way, taking a picture of a building, but there might have been 2 children in the building. The guy
Oh.
just about went through the roof. I'm not gonna throw any names around, but it was just silliness. But didn't get shot, so we're good.
Handle it well. Yeah, I do.
And then another
It wasn't
thing,
me, was it? I don't remember taking pictures.
there is a number thrown around for things up on Barn Road, i.e. Peaks Lake Placid, that I only had $1.7 million on a parcel that they paid far more for. There's 2 parcels up there. Add up their assessments, it's $5.555 million,
Which is what they think.
which is a little over what they paid for it. So the assessment is appropriate. So wherever that came from wasn't true.
You don't up the assessment because of the infrastructure improvements?
Yeah, but it's kind of what we can sell it for. And so it's not always a number of dollars you threw at it. It's being marketed at 19 and change as 3 different parcels that don't exist yet. So many grains of salt on all this stuff.
Yeah.
Safe to be said, I got almost $6 million on the things, so fine and dandy. Now, what you asked me to come here for was the first responder exemption information and also the upgrades to the the seniors exemption.
Right.
And because Deb knows more of those details than I do, she is with us.
Welcome back.
Thank you. So I sent you guys a sample resolution and law that hopefully covers all the bases. I obtained it through an attorney who works with the FASD group, the Firefighters Association of New York State, or State of New York, and just adopted it a little bit to our needs. So it's my understanding that first we have to pass a resolution. First we have to have the public hearing, then we pass the resolution. Or is it the other way around? Resolution, then the public hearing? Public hearing first.
Comments and then.
Yeah, and then the resolution and then the law.
Right. Were you able to talk to Sean Gilliland from Willsboro?
He's not responded to my email.
Okay. I talked to him briefly the other day. Here was his response to me. He said, yes, we've written this law and notified all the fire department guys, all the first responders, everyone involved. 2 people have stepped up. The process is so much easier for them to go, tell me if I'm wrong in this, there is a state
Income tax credit.
credit. And you can either take one or this.
Correct.
And the $250 income tax credit far outweighs this program on almost every level.
If their home is modest, that's probably true.
Right.
Yeah, but isn't it a percentage?
It is.
Yeah.
And $250 is more than the percentage?
Yeah. Because if you take
They don't live in
10%,
Harlem?
Yeah, I was gonna, that might be a little bit different.
First of all, town taxes are not that high, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, keep in mind that this will be adopted by all taxing jurisdictions, the town, the school, the village. I'm not sure what the county is thinking to do at this point, if anything.
right. I'm not trying to defeat it. I'm just saying that
Well,
when
the
people
point
run
is,
the numbers.
well, if they do, they've got a choice.
Exactly.
They've got a choice. I mean, we're doing something here to help people out.
Right.
And in whatever 10% of the population of volunteers, this may be a better choice.
In this program, I see it as 2 responsible, not just 2 responsible people, but the last word is done by their office in recommending to us the exemption amounts. But the people on the front lines are the chiefs down at the fire department or your executive at the ambulance that has to verify the people and keep records each year.
Actually, as you'll see in there, there's something called a
what are we calling it here?
I know
This,
what you're gonna say.
yeah, the authority having jurisdiction.
Right.
So for the fire department, it will be the village that has to do the certification.
Yep.
And for the fire, and for the ambulance service, it will be the town that will do the actual certifying. So there'll be two pieces of documents that each will fill out, the certification form and then the application itself. But we'll, either it's the village or the town, we'll be working closely with the chief and the president of the rescue squad to get that information, to get those rosters that verify these are the individuals that meet the qualifications, they're active, they're meeting all the minimum requirements, that kind of thing.
So the first year is the certification. After that, it's just making sure you're on the list.
That's right.
So, real quick, so I guess I'm a little confused. Do we need a municipality to develop that report? Because the village only manages, say, the purchase of fire equipment and the fire drivers, and the volunteers are independent organizations, and they normally verify.
Well, I talked to Mindy about it, and she said she thought that they would want to do it, that the village offices themselves would do the certification based on the list that they receive from the volunteer portion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I've talked to Mike St. Louis about this too, and, it really shouldn't be a big deal. There's not going to be tons of people,
No.
and so I think it should be a fairly streamlined process.
I'm assuming the village has to adopt the law and the town, because a volunteer that lives in the town outside the village needs the town to adopt it in order to qualify.
Right. And something to know is that if you've got a husband and wife team, they're both in the fire department, they get 2 exemptions for each individual. And one of them can opt to get the exemption and one of them can take the credit.
Right.
Even if they file jointly?
Well, that complicates it.
Yeah, I believe so.
But they'd get a 20% off their assessed value.
Correct.
So this is,
We would get to.
now we're moving into territory where we want.
Because I know one instance where that doesn't.
Right. Or if there are one member's on the rescue squad and one member's on the fire department, they'll each get the exemption.
And frankly, it will work better for people with more expensive homes. This one.
Right.
So people with a lesser home might want to take the 250 tax credit.
Mhm.
Yeah, I figured.
That's something to think about.
And we'll want to be sure that the members know the difference and the numbers involved so that they can make a determination what they want to do.
For 10% off the tax.
I still want to.
And I got that call too, so I get 10% off my
Oh,
taxes.
yeah.
I got that call.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
Distinguishing.
Can you verify the sequence for us, whether it's resolution, then a public hearing, or a public hearing first?
So I guess it's a proposal, public hearing.
Well,
Call the resolution.
Resolutions should be last.
Yeah.
no, the law would be last, wouldn't it?
That's enacting the resolution or voting on it, yes.
Doesn't the resolution enact the law, make the law?
Well, we have to have a public hearing so people can
Right.
digest it and give feedback, and then usually there's a comment period, and then once it closes, we want to adjust it. If not, then we usually vote on it. That's the sequence. I think I'm typically used to.
Right. So, but I think after the public hearing, you adopt the resolution and then that translates into the law.
Okay.
Yeah. So the language is very similar in both of those documents, as you probably
Yes.
saw. Yeah.
Well,
So-
one question I've got on the wording here, and I'm just looking if there would be any loopholes or anything. And number 2, the member, I know what you mean. The member must be active and good standing for a minimum of 2 years. Should we say anything more to that? In other words, must be active 2 years previous.
Oh, so
You know what I mean?
instead of
If they
waiting 2
did,
years down the line.
if they did 2 years previously, but they're active now, and they just reactivated 6 months ago.
So your first 2 years, you don't get anything.
Right, but I mean, in other words, let's say you did it 2 years, okay? You were active for 2 years,
Right.
okay? And then you became inactive,
Oh,
okay?
Mhm.
And a year later, you reactivated, and 6 months later, you claimed the exemption.
I wouldn't agree with that.
No, I know, that's what I mean. So should we word this,
I think
You know what I
that
mean?
clarification would make sense.
Yeah, I think we should say more to that, number 2.
So there's more dialogue.
What, number 2 of the resolution?
No,
Of the
the
law?
email, the member must be
Oh.
active and in good standing for a minimum of 2 years.
Oh, and I probably paraphrased that. If you go and you
Previous to.
actually look at the way it's written,
Okay, okay.
yeah,
In other words, what you're saying,
right. It
Okay, I
says
did,
it should, it should be for at least 2 years.
But we're
At that
saying
point.
with no gap.
with no gap. In
So
other
do we
words-
want to say consecutive years?
No, because we want to say, well, I'm not sure the way it's. Prior to being certified as active.
But part of the justification or reason for this is if somebody's sitting on the fence with their $3 million house and they were active for 3 or 4 years and got off it because it was a pain, hey, maybe I'll get back on the rescue squad too. That's
Incentivizing.
Yeah, and they only got on 6 months ago.
Are you speaking from experience? Right? Just 6 minutes.
It's turning. He's gonna buy a $1 million house next week.
Let's go to PT.
So you see what I mean? That they are active, the point they are certified active is, it's
So it's
2 years previous.
Yes.
Okay, it isn't 2 years in the past, it's 2 years now.
Immediately prior.
Yeah.
Immediate prior to
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
being certified as active.
2 years prior to application.
And the certification is annual.
Right.
One-time application, but the
Right.
certification will happen
Exactly.
annually.
And then all the certification.
Yeah, so in other words, if they take a year off, now they gotta start over.
Okay.
So we're going to say it is
Overtime.
immediately prior.
That's 2 years immediately prior to certification as active, or something like that.
So do you want me to put this public hearing on in our October meeting?
Or the October meeting,
That was our
but it seems like we
wish
should probably have a little bit more dialogue.
Yeah.
about the wording. Seems like.
I need that much time to notice it. It's too quick for next week.
Yeah.
I mean, I can amend both of these documents to reflect this 2 years immediately prior to active certification.
Yeah, these are samples.
So maybe I'm the dense one, so what do you?
Okay.
So like, in my mind, it's like certification of like, just from my experience in the fire department, they certify each year.
Right.
So the question would be, well, you had mentioned you certify and then you have 2 more additional years before you can qualify. You're saying, no, you want to say,
The other way around.
if you apply and you go and you're certified for the 2 prior years, you're
Yes.
immediately available.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I agree with that.
So each year, like the fire department would forward a list to the village
Correct,
and they would approve that list.
correct.
Okay.
You know, because there will be people that will go inactive
Oh, sure.
for whatever reason, health issues or, and actually also if someone moves from one house to another, it's a new application process.
Okay.
Because the exemption is tied to the residence as well as the individual.
Right.
Yeah.
It covers people timing out, 20 years of service.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So maybe I'm overthinking this as well. So would the village board have to, let's say, vote on by resolution affirming the list and then we receive it? Or is it just something that we just rely on the town board?
Well, no, they're gonna
The fire department to
yeah.
give the list to the village. I don't know why the village would facilitate it then.
Well, the village is just gonna, there's a certification form that the village
They would
is,
approve.
they're gonna approve that, then they're gonna give that back to the individual who's going to come to our office and fill out the application.
Okay, so 3 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'll be able to verify that they're certified and that their application is.
Right, so when Joe comes in, does he just look at the list? Yeah, you're good.
You have
Yeah.
to reside in the district
Well-
to get the qualification. A person that
Yes.
lives on the outskirts of Saranac Lake but outside our fire district wouldn't qualify.
And that brings up the other question we had last time. So if they're out of our fire district, but still in North Elba, it wouldn't qualify either. Well, which I agree with. That's fine.
So is that in our language too, within our?
That's in the law.
It's in the law.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Okay.
Dave.
Thank you, Deb.
Yeah.
Thanks for the work on that.
Yeah, sure. And we're still working on getting some information about the senior stuff. I'm trying to get some sample resolution in law. Nobody's really taken any action on anything with regards to the seniors just yet.
That's just the increased income.
Yeah, or the way we evaluate income.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're still going with that.
Essentially running with AGI.
Yes.
Yeah, which is the way the STAR program is evaluated.
Right.
So we're
So,
going with the lower threshold initially to see
correct.
what shakes out, and then we'll
Yeah.
address it. All.
Yeah, so if I can get all that language in, all those two documents prepared really pretty quickly here, then you could hopefully do both in the same public hearing.
Yeah.
October.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And Adrian thought it was just like 9 or 10 days prior to the meeting for
I think
public notice?
public hearing's 10 days, Kathy, does that ring a bell?
For a noticing?
Yeah. I'll check it.
Yeah. So,
But I don't have time for next week.
no, I knew it was
Yeah.
gonna have to go into October.
No rush.
Yeah, which is fine for our purposes. As long as we can get this all done by the end of the, before the end of the year, we'll be good.
How far through your data?
It's endless.
No.
You just stop. You just want to.
500, are you halfway through?
Let me put it like this.
Which time? No, just.
I'm looking at stuff that I was last there at 2015 and 16,
Wow,
some of it.
wow.
We'll trip on everything.
And 2 of you, 3 of you?
To the garages.
I get help 2 days a week currently, plus or minus, from Erica, from the county.
Yeah,
And I have Jennifer, who's gone out with me for some data collection. Yeah,
well, training and knowing what you're looking for. I get it.
yeah. And it's an acquired set of skills.
Of course.
But
But she's mindful of how she's taking pictures, right?
I'm taking pictures. So I take the heat for standing on the sidewalk and taking pictures.
Don't worry, family, that's just Todd.
Look at your toes. We should have
Since the
blades
county
of grass.
schedule anything for firefighters law?
I think they left it up to the towns.
Okay, because the county does have the ability to adopt it too,
Right.
and the county would have, they'd get a 10%
I'll ask
grant.
it Tuesday.
Yeah, I was just curious. I mean, I
Because
can
that
give
would-
you a list of counties that have done it already.
Yeah,
So would they combine North Elba and the county?
all 18 towns would be under the county.
I was saying, could they double up on?
They can double up. They get an exemption for each taxing jurisdiction, county, town,
That's another
school,
help.
and village.
It's getting harder and harder to look there. We have to expand the boundaries, pull people.
Yeah.
So.
So I was just curious.
No,
Yeah,
question. I'll
Dave
ask.
wasn't sure how that was shaking out. So
Okay.
Dave went wrong.
Good.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, appreciate it.
Mike, you still awake?
We know what Darcy is, it's just running.
Not sure about mine. Well,
I've heard all these conversations 3 times.
Exactly.
now we got.
So can you clarify for us?
Yes.
Yeah, we probably
could.
We got some questions on Todd's presentation.
I
And
can,
then we're gonna go to sewer after
absolutely,
that.
absolutely. You want to talk fire department? All day long. Most important thing, David finished his training to be a code enforcement officer as of last Thursday and passed his final test today, so he is certified with New York State.
Good deal.
Mr. Sama from Fulton Valley, West Valley, project in West Valley, is requesting the board consider giving him a break on the time, the work time limits. Right now, construction is 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. They have one more building to set, and the crane expense, they wouldn't be able to do it in the 7 to 7 timeframe. They need more time. They want to start at 6 and go till
6:30.
6:30, and then maybe go West Valley project. So they have one more townhouse to set, and he's looking for you folks to give him the okay to work from 6 a.m. to
6:30 to 8:30.
6:30. I'm sorry, to 8:30. He will notice the neighbors, let them know what's happening. It's supposed to happen on what, the 14th?
Thursday, September
Has there
14th.
been any noise complaints
Yes.
on their had on there?
Because they did start early one time.
Okay, that didn't, that's the other project that's been getting all done.
Yeah.
Which other?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
that
this,
was-
so this, so guys, this is just one day.
One day.
One day.
That's all there is.
And there is a rain date the following week, but we don't have rain here, so
Yeah,
it's
we don't-
happening on the
So it's like
14th.
Kobe.
Yeah, well, we-
That's-
That's right.
Emily, do you want to talk about conditions? You're going to notify everyone?
There's 8.
We have a list. We have a
There's 8
list of,
neighbors.
Oh, are you going to notify?
no, we're going to give him the list,
Okay.
or her the list, and
Yeah.
he'll
But David gave me the list, but it's more than 8, which is fine.
most of those people live there, so that's ridiculous. You don't have to mail them anything. You're going to see it.
That I also
They live it now. We went there today, there was 8
They better-
contractors, and, there's always work going on still, so.
And Chip Bissell has
Chip
a
Bissell has a
vacant
vacant
parcel,
parcel,
so.
so we're going to cut it down to
There's
people that we know.
And you want it returned, like certified mail?
Yeah.
Just to-
And then my only other question was, do you want, and I know we talked about this, so I guess I should be looking at the board. Do you want it to say that it is on the agenda to be discussed at the town board meeting on September, whatever date is that? Like, should it mention
Are
that?
you gonna mail it before then?
I was gonna say, when you're gonna mail it.
Well, I mean,
Today is
I
Thursday, so I don't know.
You got
I
the-
could do it on Friday.
I'm just-
They won't have it in time.
That's true. So then as a board, are you concerned about that?
No,
Okay.
I prefer we keep it on the agenda anyway.
You know, if it were a month-long thing.
Yes.
That might be a longer
You know, it's like, I mean, I'm
And if you don't pass it, we'll handle the complaints.
Yeah. It's like the proverbial arguments going on for 24 years. With people that just like Iron Man, one day.
Why do you gotta bring up Iron Man? Come on.
You started talking nice about Darcy, now you're giving me a hard time. Just cross
She
it.
knows all.
Anything else?
Yeah.
You need clarity on anything else?
Speaking of merchandise, Cambria is, like, they've got to be wrapping up, right? They have people coming.
They're hoping to have a soft opening at the end of September, which they got a lot to do. And we got a lot of work to do there, so it's gonna be on our time schedule. And, you know, as you know, Darcy's gonna be running around the world soon, so.
Yes.
Yes.
You're welcome.
I'll be taking David with me to train him on how to do these things when it's time.
Did you get anything yesterday on that? I went
Yes,
by and
I've gotten
the
complaints.
hammer was going and I thought, oh, God.
Oh, okay.
And too early or too late?
Which one, which project are you talking about?
The
Hotel.
hotel. They had the big dumper out there breaking up the concrete.
What time was that?
8 o'clock, but still, it was,
I shouldn't be.
no, but it was
Intense.
pretty intense.
We've gotten complaints about the Stewart guys working past 7. We've gotten complaints about everything. They have to move their sign standard that they started to build because it's right on top of the sewer line, so that has to get moved. Yeah.
The new Stewart's edition, will it be attached to
Yeah, the whole
the
thing.
original
The whole
building?
thing will be one big building.
Okay.
They're keeping the old building.
No, they're not gonna be in the old building.
Knocking it down.
That's what I thought.
They're moving, the new building will be moved back to make more space for the canopy and everything else.
Because I was looking at them.
You know, we got the plans anytime.
Do they have to dig up the gas?
Yes,
Yes.
They're gonna move it all,
we're gonna move it all back.
I thought it was new enough. but-
just like what they did.
Well, I don't know about the
before.
tanks.
Yes, they are.
Are they taking the tanks and moving them?
Plus the ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question as we move into budget season. It seems like all the major hotel buildings and all these big things are winding down and coming to an end where, you know, an application gave us $100,000.
And fees
Yeah,
and building permits.
I'm guessing in this next year, we're not gonna be looking at that kind of,
You get Tony Kumar wants to build it over here. You got other developments in the works.
yeah.
Maybe that,
You just have.
I'm just wondering if you see
right.
us starting,
You can't. You know,
I mean, we can't maintain what we've been doing for even the last 5 or 6 years.
In building permits, no,
Right,
but we make more money than short-term rental stuff than building permits anyway, so
yeah.
as long as they stick around.
Plus we're losing a big expense
March, but no one's counting.
Nobody, less than 140, less than 140 days.
Safe flight.
Yep.
Enjoy yourself. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, that's it.
Thank you.
Stop in, you want to see plans, we got everything, so.
See you for coffee tomorrow.
That's a long walk up there, though.
We got an elevator.
I'm pretty winded by the time I get up there.
The other one is supposed to be in shape. We'll not work to get water and flowers every
I
morning.
know, I gotta get out of that job.
Is Haley gonna?
So we're doing some push-ups.
She was gonna, and
He's
if,
right there.
if she's doing, yeah, she
That's a
can.
big age.
Haley, it's on you. You're there.
She's right there.
Hey, that's
There
pretty
she is.
good.
There she is.
Yes, I'm sorry, he was supposed to be sleeping, he woke up.
So you're not there.
I was there and I heard them wrapping up, so I was hanging out there until you guys were in. Come here. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, he was supposed to be sleeping.
Wait till you get
You
children.
sound like a mom.
I know. Here.
Because when they sleep, you sleep, so that.
Yeah. Okay, yes, so let's see.
Nothing for me to sign today?
Not yet, but like probably tomorrow. We got the updated contract from the state for the comp plan because they had initially said a start date of July 1st, and then they sent the contract out finally. It said November 1st. We requested that they push it up a little so we could actually get started, and now it's September 1st. So I have that for you to sign.
Okay.
I think you were CC'd on that.
On the last day of August, you get to do it. September 1st.
And that means our contract will run till, August has 30 days. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, 31. I was like doing the song in my head. Yeah. So that would run till the end of August next year.
Okay.
So I have that to sign.
And so then SE Group is ready to get going, because that's literally.
We just have the
2 days.
contract to sign. The only thing I want to check in with the SE Group contract is they built the Horseshoe Run Master Plan into the original PSA. And I want to make sure it's okay with the state that they did that and that they don't want like 2 separate
Oh,
contracts.
did they give us a?
Yeah, they gave us an updated one, but I was waiting to hear back from Kylie, who's our representative with whatever DOS, Department of State, to see if that's even okay, or if we need to separate them out and just have 2 separate documents. Because in the document, it states like it's 2 separate projects, but they might be really picky and want 2 separate documents.
So what was the price?
They didn't get the price, I have to still check. Or I immediately saw that they had combined the 2 and was like, I need to check before I even check the price. But I can actually pull that up and send that out. But they said not to exceed, I think, if I remember correctly, they said not to exceed $200,000.
Yeah, that would mean that the Horseshoe Ranch was $100,000 or 80. Sorry,
80, which is so we'd have to double check that.
Which I think would be a lot.
That would be excessive. And also if it ends up being that, I would have to go into RFP. So I'll double check the price that was on that. I should have done that. I just immediately saw the contract. I had contracts on my mind and wanted to check in, especially with the start date for the comp plan of the 1st.
So did you settle the smart growth aspect of that?
Yeah, that was easy enough to do. They just had to essentially make sure the word smart growth were in there. Because they're like all the principles you're covering are smart growth principles. They just wanted to make sure that the state that was like stated in there, just to be like absolutely sure that
You mean like just checking a box
yes.
for it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Don't apologize for being on the table.
Yeah. Well, it's good news on the comprehensive plan. Not so great on the Horseshoe.
Yeah, we're not.
I'll double check that. And I can always get back to them too. The other thing was the RFP for the West Valley sidewalk. I wrote up a draft. I talked to Brad, and his only request was that there's something in there that says that it should be at hopefully a minimum of 6.5 feet to accommodate sweepers and everything. But otherwise, no. I mean, so whenever we want that out.
What about, did you ask Kenny?
I talked to Ken still. I wanted to double check with him, but it sounded like that would be the case. There's actually an ask today, but and
in that RFP, have we totally disqualified a wide shoulder versus a
so
sidewalk?
essentially the RFP is like, can we even put a sidewalk there?
Right.
And if we can't, like, what are the kind of going in and inventorying? What are the constraints? What are the physical barriers? Looking at right-of-way issues, things like that, and then coming up with the concept plan. So throughout the process, there'd be input based on like what data they gather, and then they'd probably talk to whatever group or person they're working with on this end. And when they come with the concept plan, which is the second part of the request, they incorporate that kind of stuff. So it would include a concept plan, a feasibility assessment.
And then it's usually with price, with specific prices.
Yeah. And otherwise, that was mostly it. The one thing I did have to ask, so the village has been, had some requests about accessibility on the website. So I've been looking into that, helping them a little bit, just Jackie with that a little bit. But I don't know if that's something that the town has any interest in. There's a chance the village is looking into some sort of, I don't really know, you'd have to talk to Jackie. She just kind of mentioned it to me and asked me to ask you guys about it. Some sort of monitoring something or other
Yeah.
to make sure that the website's up to date on accessibility functions. I don't know a huge amount about this.
You mean like in compliance?
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
issue is like, so we have a brand new website, right? So the website itself is compliant to ADA standards. The problem is that it's our PDFs. So like anything that we uploaded as like the building department, the building permit application, like it's a PDF and it's a visually impaired issue. And so like the readers they don't work well with PDFs, especially like outdated kind of older people.
Large, so.
Yeah, and so that's the issue. It's just to clarify, like the website company did their job. It's like the fact that our PDFs are not compliant to the visual standards.
Right, well,
Are we not creating the PDFs?
so essentially PDFs are notoriously difficult when it comes to compatibility with screen readers.
Yeah.
It has a lot to do with the screen reader technology, and there's only so much we can make, to my understanding, make them as accessible as possible. But even when we do that, it's really difficult. So the solutions are to make them accessible as possible, and just we can also turn some of the forms that require you can put your name, applications for things, permits. You can make those into forms that are directly on a web page, and then screen readers can read those.
Okay.
But the problem is that there's an expense with that. Like that wasn't part of our quote from Revise.
What is that, certain, like a conversion of programming or something?
Pretty much you're just taking a form, and instead of somebody printing it out and filling it out, they can just fill it out directly on the web page.
Well, even the PDF should be fillable, but it's like the more the advanced version of fillable PDF.
When you put it on the website, it's no longer a PDF, it's just text on the web page. Yeah.
But it would be an additional cost to convert with Revise, to convert all of those. And it would take a lot of staff time, I think, as well, because I think there's updates that could be done. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but it is we looked at it and it was a significant chunk of money.
Well, and I talked to one of the kind of like accessibility company people, that's what they do. I met with one of them yesterday just to get an idea of like how much this stuff costs to go back and do like an essentially accessibility audit. I think that's what Jackie had requested I do, and remediation. And they of course held off on telling me the price till the very end. But like their bare minimum package was $25,000.
So this is required by federal or state?
It's not required.
It's not required.
By
Our website meets all the requirements. It's more that it's just.
So it's aggravating.
Yeah.
So
But we also want to be accessible.
Right, but the fact is, we're fine because our website is ADA compliant.
Yes.
That's correct.
Technically speaking, our website is ADA compliant. However, there's like, from what I understand, gray areas there. There are lawsuits related to it, especially to PDFs. It seems to be like the big, but in general, it can be ADA compliant, but then, it could have been designed ADA compliant. There are still like little details here and there that we could fix, but I think the biggest one is like the PDFs, and that's kind of the area.
Maybe we should.
People don't really have good solutions to it, from my understanding, because it is just.
But if we decide to upgrade and it requires that amount of money, are we done?
Yeah, and I think part of what Jackie was talking about is that there's like this continued monitoring.
That's the thing.
And that's
So it might be $25,000 now, and then all of a sudden a year.
And that
from now,
includes
we're-
monitoring, and that's for this in particular.
Right, but then all of a sudden, we're monitoring it, and something else appears, and a year from now, we got to spend another $25,000. Yeah,
I
that's.
think maybe the easiest thing to do is investigate with Revise how much it would cost to convert our PDF. Like it's
Just
mostly the
do
forms,
PDF
right?
information.
Yeah,
Right.
and the other things that are PDFs, like sometimes it's just like weird thing, like local laws, right?
Right.
And so someone probably should not be uploading from here on out, uploading local laws as a PDF. They should be actually putting the local law into a text that can be read by a screen reader. So maybe to a certain extent, it's asking Revise to change for this package of the PDFs to be actual forms. And then also maybe some training for people who upload things to the website of how to make sure that
Yes.
they're following ADA compliant standards.
Yeah.
So you can also
Like if you
PDF
can say
to
no
download
PDF,
also.
no PDF.
But you can click on the link where the web page is essentially what the local law is, so it can.
Yeah.
You can put the text directly on the page.
right.
Yeah.
And a reader can pick that up.
Yeah.
So
I just can't see pen spending now, later.
And,
If it can be
and
fixed and
apparently,
done.
the other thing too that we found out, that Jackson found out, or you found out, was there's also like shysters out there, as always, that like, who bring these issues
Yeah.
up and then make you spend, and then they're the ones who are on the other side. Like, it's actually the companies who are auditing it, who are like bringing up the issues.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're getting a paycheck.
Yeah.
And so it is kind of like buyer beware, like, are you really talking to the right people? But I do think that PDFs are an issue.
So this sounds like Bruce funds, or I mean, we
Yeah.
gotta make sure that we're accessible to all the
You know,
expense.
The thing is though, I mean, how prevalent is this?
I think it's more about doing the right thing.
No, I'm just curious how, I mean, have other municipalities, other whatever that started out like we did with an ADA compliant site?
I think it probably happens a lot.
And from what I understand, it
And-
does.
And, you know,
It's
and
actually
are they
recently.
converting? And are they, you know, I mean, I'm not trying to, I'm not saying you have to do it.
The
I'm just saying.
PDF thing is outdated too. Like, it should just be in the body of the email. Like, it shouldn't, things should not just be uploaded as PDFs because it's easier, because you created it as a
Right.
document that then you then scanned and made a PDF. Like, you should make things part of an interactive website.
Could you imagine doing that for an assessment role?
Yeah.
That would be
So,
ridiculous. That
something
would be
like that,
ridiculous.
something like that, 100%, it has to say PDF. Or it can, it has to say PDF. I was just thinking like a Dropbox file, but then it would
Yeah.
be going to an Excel document, and you can't have someone altering an Excel.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
They only read only.
Yeah.
Haley,
I guess
is
you
there-
could do a protected file.
You can read only, but then they can download it and then they can save it and then open up and read
Well, from
it.
what
Then that opens up a can of worms.
I understand too, it's people who actually utilize screen readers, because the complaint is coming from somebody who, I don't know, it doesn't sound like he uses one.
Yes, that's the other.
They already,
Yeah.
I've looked it up, and they're like, we essentially, when we have a PDF, they have workarounds, like they figured out how to, so like with things like that, they needed information, I just call and ask, they have workarounds for that at this point.
If you're a visual judge, you can just highlight, most computers can highlight text, even on PDFs and have computers. Which is, they don't even need the images.
Yeah, it's pretty much for it online, you know, if you have PDFs pulled up online, and I mean, I don't know much about offline, yeah.
Because even on your phone, you can highlight the text and have it.
Haley, is there an area of accessibility to create a web page or whatever for our airport?
Yeah.
I'd like to send Russ in to meet you and see if,
Yeah.
I'd like there to be some awareness of our airport on there.
Okay.
Get all of the pictures that are.
There's an airport section.
There was on the old one.
There's one on the new one, and it's super boring, right? It's like, you know,
Well, I think that was
so-
I add, because we have to put our DVE and our all the stuff that we need for grants has to be. some
I'd
sort
like
of-
people to know
We talked
about.
about that.
I mean, the website, it's an airport, it's easy enough to add a page.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people, I
Need
mean,
information.
like Scenic's been going on for how many, 50 years?
Right.
Whatever, and some people say, do they do scenic flights out of there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Even though it's on a
Okay,
sign.
I'll link you to
Definitely, yeah, that's easy to do.
Good.
Okay, I think that was it. Anything else?
I was gonna just tell you on your radar, did anyone read the papers yesterday about the northern borders? Just wanna make sure you get it right.
Oh, the county health goals next year.
Yeah, Northern Border Regional Commission announces $11 million to
Yeah,
Northern New York
saw that.
communities. I feel like that's a grant opportunity that's off our radar, so I just want you to put it on your.
Yeah, no worries, Northern
Because
Border.
almost all the funding went to childcare centers.
Oh, really? What's it called?
Northern Border
Border
Regional
Regional
Commission.
I think McKenna's involved in that.
And it's obvious, it's gotta be federal because it talks
A
about
federal state partnership.
Schumer and Gillibrand.
Yeah, it's Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, New York, and New York. Okay. Yeah, never heard of that.
It seems like something that we have not been thinking of, but is that?
We'll go after that next year when we have 50 more births to threes.
Oh, and there's also, yeah, workforce opportunities for, oh, cool, yeah. I can-
That's all I have.
That's pretty good.
Thank you, guys.
Everything's good.
Did you
out
write
there?
that article? I'm sorry, I just realized, or it was probably Associated Press,
No,
right?
it was, yeah, I think it was AP.
Yeah. Have you met Haley? She's kind of
Hi.
our default communication person.
Nice to meet you.
And your dog is very cute.
Thank you. Come here.
You're Vicky.
I have a key.
Yes,
Oh, I
I
don't have a
do.
key to your office, sorry.
I would like to,
Thanks.
do you want me to give Ken's quick,
What's that?
want me to give Ken's quick,
Oh, sure.
because it has to do with Kathy, so.
Good.
No, well, don't have the front door. 'cause
Is this an
this
open
is
meeting?
public- Yeah, this is still open meeting.
Yeah, we lock the door when you go?
Do you know how to do
If we have to.
Yeah, the slider.
Well, that's the on off,
Yeah.
not the power.
Okay.
So you all received the email from Ken regarding the truck.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't the last one up 270?
295.
It was. I knew it was under 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
270.
What he just wanted to relay was why he's pushing for this quarter is they have so many spots per quarter that they build spots. This quarter ends the end of September, and if you get your bid in, so to speak, for a truck, it'll be delivered in mid-summer of 2024.
So we can expect it at around August of 2025.
Right.
Yeah.
And if we hit the following quarter, then it won't be until early mid-winter of 2024 for
2026.
2026. Yeah. So, and of course, it needs to go out to bid. He explained to me a little bit about how he wants to stick with the brand that he has, the Volvos, so that they're all similar and he can stock parts
No, they're not Volvos.
from, they're not?
No, the Western Star, the
Western
old
Star.
the old ones are Volvos.
The old the International, yeah.
Oh, the
International is out 18 months, so that goes on your timeline. He also needs to replace a pickup truck. It's a 2016 that they plow with, et cetera. Otherwise, he said, from a budgetary standpoint, that's all. Wow, $500,000.
So how much was the truck? I missed that.
320, isn't it?
Yeah, with the plow.
Yeah, with the whole package,
So
320.
basically, how much the
not-
plow package is.
I know, well, it's a plow in the box.
Right.
Within
But I mean,
2.5
still.
years, that's $40,000
Yeah, I
more.
could-
Yeah.
I-
But
So,
we're already, I think, almost a year behind our buy plan now.
right.
So
No, we're caught up.
This would catch us up.
this one catches us up because this.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm
replacing
saying.
a 17.
Yeah, but we're caught up. I mean, if we do it now, we'll be caught up.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
And we can't get rid of the ones that we already
We're going to
replaced.
trade in.
It's good.
This one's gonna be a trade-in.
Yeah,
Just to avoid
yeah, because I think that, and.
Is that
again,
320 with the trade-in?
No,
Okay.
no. And I think that,
310.
I think we'll still make out those 2 weeks that we kept. I still think we'll make out okay.
Yeah.
When the season comes.
Yeah, that's the thing, because when you guys recall when we did the auction, America's auction or whatever, Auction America, we didn't get what we wanted, but it wasn't, there was many similar trucks on there.
Oh, no kidding.
Many,
So
many.
municipalities have the
Right,
same
so
idea.
now, and Ken did told Rick and I last week that he did talk to somebody, one of his colleagues, and after he put the word out saying, I've got these and everything, again, he put the word out again. And, oh, I wish I'd known that 2 weeks ago. I had to buy one. So, they forget, he put the word out before and they've already forgotten, so.
Or they just assume that they got bought.
And there's still obviously a good lag time on getting these, not like it used to be, a big lag time. And if you need one to carry you over, hey, here's a truck, 45,000 will get you through. Because the box may be a little bit deteriorating, but it works. They'll buy it.
So listen, will you guys under committee reports next week, bring this up and we'll do it in the form of a resolution or whatever? And I mean, if time is the essence, I have no problem taking it out of this meeting and telling them, move ahead.
It'll just be putting it out for bid.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that's, yeah, I mean, we're not saying goodbye.
Right.
We can tell them, yeah, we can tell Kenny, go ahead with the bid process.
Sure.
Okay.
What do you got, kiddo?
Not a lot of big stuff, other than, unless you want me to tell them what happened this week.
Yes.
Sure, it does.
It's an IT security issue,
Now,
okay?
listen, should we ask Sydney that this isn't a
I'm not
recorded?
gonna mention names. I will say
Okay.
that we had a banking transfer snafu happen this week. Did not originate with us, we think. However, I've been having discussions with some different entities, and I have been told that we should contact our IT vendor, have them look into it, get some information, which I'm gonna disseminate. But we need to change our passwords. So everybody who's on our North Elba.org is gonna get their passwords are gonna get changed.
Can I
Just
notice
be
if
aware
I
of that.
log in, you have to use an.
That's why I'm not on it.
Wait, I just ruined my life.
The
Yeah.
teachers are gonna go in that route too.
Right.
I don't have.
Whereas we're gonna be introducing it
Right.
this year, it's gonna be a huge pain just to
Yeah.
log into your email.
And Ivan, we need to get a hold of Ivan and tell him he needs to do the same with his emails,
Okay.
ones that they use in their office, because he was in that email chain.
We'll get a prompt, though.
Yeah, when you try logging into your email, it's gonna say you need to change your password.
Because I need my handheld to go across the
Well, you
road.
can come up to the office. I won't be here tomorrow, but you can come up, I'm gonna initiate this whole process tomorrow, so sometime tomorrow into Friday, you'll probably have this happen to you. You log into your emails, so hopefully you don't need anything before the board meeting. Because the timing is just right? The timing is
Let's just look at you guys going, hey.
Wait till you get.
So we have that land lease for, lady, can't think of his first name. Terry, thank you.
Yeah.
On high school. Did you
Joint
have
club.
him sign that yet?
Joint clubs.
Because it's expired
It's
the end of
getting
the month.
bigger, yeah.
What'd you do, send it to me and I didn't do it?
I'll check into it tomorrow. Because we had Shatner go through it.
I've got to go up to
So
the
they're
airport
good.
anyway.
Okay,
There's some more pictures that I want to look at.
all right. The credit card
Let me
processing,
know I can help you with them.
the credit card,
Yeah. If you need somebody to cover your sticks, I'm here.
the credit card processing company that we use out at Craigwood is changing. So we're gonna be, dealing with that.
Are they the same ones we use for?
No.
No, so they're.
We have a different credit card processing application for every location in the town that takes credit cards.
Okay.
Every single one is different.
Good.
That's on purpose.
No, it's just the way it works out. Keeps us on our toes. We still have bagged sand from Muir Lake sidewalk project from when we bought the pavers and then we decided not to use them.
Yeah.
To the tune of a couple $1,000s. We'd like to have the board's permission to just write that off and let Kenny use it as he sees fit because nobody's gonna buy it. It's just sitting there.
Well,
Bags
yeah.
are rotting.
Well, the bags are falling apart
Yeah.
anyway.
So,
We can put it up in the beach volleyball.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, it's taken up space that I think she said there was 107 bags left there that nobody wants to buy them. So little stuff like that.
But I'll tell you what, I will call Chris LaFave from Northern Irrigation, who's bought like $2,000 or $3,000 worth from us. As long as we're getting rid of it, maybe he'll just come take it.
Well, the whole purpose of writing it off is so the town can use it. But
Well, that's,
yeah, I mean, I don't care.
yeah.
Just get rid of
How
it.
much were we getting a bag? How much were we getting a bag?
It was $29.50 a bag, I think is what they were saying.
We sold
$5 a
it,
bag.
we sold it to him for 20.
Come
Yeah.
and get it, $5.
Chris,
I mean,
oh
just-
great,
$5 a bag.
$5 a bag.
So,
If you take them all.
I mean, I guess I would just double check with Ken, make sure he
Yeah.
doesn't have a use for it first
Yeah.
before you do that.
I mean, because that's good, that's good stuff.
So,
That's
and
the
then the biggest thing we have is the Raybrook the resolution calling a public hearing, yada, 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 for the bonding, for this additional increase.
2.8.
Yeah.
So glad we're gone.
So I just want to make sure that that's all on your agenda
I haven't
for.
been around that long.
Does anybody need that information sent to them?
On the resolution?
Yeah.
I had, they all
we all
got
have
it.
it.
You have it already?
It's
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'll do the financials when we have the update.
Do you want to fill in at all on our meeting with the Village of Saranac Lake this morning on Water District number 2 and the agreement? I mean,
So
it's not critical.
there's a municipal services agreement that Saranac Lake uses when somebody wants to develop a piece of property that's in, I'm going to refer to it as the Mackenzie Water District.
Yeah.
This is a water district that we, as a town, have not raised taxes on. There's no money in that district on our books,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera. The Village of Saranac Lake, they have this municipal services agreement that they've had in place for several years, that they charge. If somebody wants to develop their property and put water there, they charge them basically the tax rate on their assessed value to every year. So they basically, they call it a tax-like assessment or something like that, a fee, whatever. It's
In
tax-
basic terms, it goes like this. Yes, you can hook onto our water line.
It's gonna cost you $3,000 every year,
Per year.
plus user fees
Because that's
of,
what Frank was going through, right?
Exactly.
Right.
So
Plus
the
user
fee of
fees.
3,000 plus the rate. they
plus
pay.
the rate, which is 3 times because they're outside the district.
This was a plan that was executed by previous administration of the village
Correct.
to force people outside the village to annex into.
Which didn't work
And the current village board
in all the
acknowledges
towns.
that.
Yeah,
And they're in full agreement with Harrietstown, St. Armand, and North Elba, and that we'd like to abolish that or rewrite it.
right.
Okay.
Rewrite it.
How
I
can you
think,
justify an annual fee?
Well, it was just, it's a deterrent. It's a
I can
deterrent.
see a hookup fee.
well, so what
Okay.
happened, so what happened is they were hoping, as he said, that they'd pull these people into the district and then have
Bigger.
a big, but it didn't work that way. So their tax base didn't grow. They only had 5 people, they said, hook on since this was instituted. So
And there's
basically, they're going to
and there's a lot
abolish.
of lots to build on Mackenzie Valley
Yeah.
Road yet.
Yep.
So they're all drilling wells and putting septic
Right.
in.
So it's just making the whole process more complicated where then we could essentially provide them water.
Yeah, so Jordana, yeah,
I
so
like the way this is going.
Jordana from the Harrietstown is going to draft a letter that is going to basically come from all 3 of the towns addressed to the Village of Saranac Lake Board saying we support amending this agreement and revise it to just being the 1, 2, or 3 times rate
Right.
of the water usage rate scale that they've got in place
And
now.
I should say it was a very good meeting with everyone around the table.
And we're gonna meet with them again on Friday for the fire protection
Yeah.
district discussion, so we'll see how that goes.
About fixing the
Assessment.
Yes, yes, so they have.
On actuals instead of
Yeah.
anticipated expenses.
So I asked them to provide us with their year end, mind you, Village of Saranac Lake's year end is May 31.
Yeah.
Their year end financials haven't got them yet. I don't know why it would take them 3 months to get final numbers, but they amended.
Who your treasurer is.
What
They'll
he-
just ran into some of that issue.
Yes.
years ago.
Yeah, so they amended their budget, their 2022-23 budget, the one that just ended, by $1 million, $1.2 million. So I said, well, I saw that you guys amended your budget. Did you buy an engine? And they said, no, but it's on order. So they have bought an engine. It's on, they're waiting for it to get
New
delivered.
ladder truck.
New ladder truck. But get this, they said, a good thing that they did if they need it, because the new one, the price tripled. Doubled.
Went from
Doubled.
1.2 to 2.5.
Yeah, for a ladder truck,
How do you justify that?
right? They only have,
They couldn't.
Yeah, well, that's, yes.
so just
You want-
FYI, that's gonna be part of the discussion about us going with,
Our major concerns now are $1 million purchase
Right.
and this proposed $27 million new
Right.
responders building or
Right,
whatever.
right.
And is it gonna be portioned out to all the different contracts? We can cover our contracts for service, but not for expansion
capital.
like that.
No.
And I'm not sure that legally they could do that.
So the thing is that these are fire protection districts. They don't need to have our input on setting their budget, but
Right.
we have to pay. There's something definitely not fair about that. If they were a fire district,
Okay.
they would have to present their budget to the town. But because they're a fire protection district, they do not.
Right.
That's something that's written in finance law that we can't control. But we should be able to negotiate that they have to contact us when they have major changes in their budget. You know, like this $1.2 million that they put in. Yeah, so something to think about. But yeah, that's, other than the Raybrook stuff and. So we got.
Raybrook isn't even the big number.
Yeah, no, it's not. But having said that,
Yeah, that's gonna.
I will say that another thing regarding Raybrook is we need to get a hold of Ivan and make sure that we redo his agreement for working on the Raybrook project to match up with the minority owned business enterprise guidelines.
Okay.
Because there's a limit on how much we can pay him under the current project, and since he's requested the additional amount to continue, and we put that request in.
Do I have you in on the meeting with Bob Hafner out of Shatner's office?
When is that?
Good question.
If it's September 21st, I can't go because I have I have to be in the town Bolton.
I better go get it right now because Bob is the one out of Shatner's office that has worked with water agreements with prisons before.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And what we are doing, I've decided to take the decision process and the lease agreements, not lease agreements, but the design agreements out of the state's hand and put them in our hands. I'm going to get aggressive and I'm going to be the one moving forward instead of waiting for the state. I'm
But how
right
can
up to the.
just simple question, how can you do that?
I can.
We're, in the past, I understand we're waiting for that,
Yes,
but just by taking it over, what's the benefit?
the benefit.
I'm not saying don't do it, I'm just saying.
The
just explain
benefit
to
is
me.
that it puts Ivan in gear to finish the design phase of moving all the improvements we need from Raybrook Pump House to bringing the 12-inch line up to the road,
Right.
cutting across from Hunts over to the prison and the tie-in. Propose that along with 40 to 45% of that new tank that I totally forgot about. We went from $150,000 to $250,000
Because of the prison.
because of the prison, knowing that 300,000 gallons a day had to go across the street.
Right.
Now the state says to us, we never said we were going to use the water. We want it to our front door. Well, because Sydney's here, I can't tell you what I'd like to tell the state.
You just did.
Yeah,
And that stops you.
yeah,
We'll run it to your front door, but there'll be no valve on it.
that's right. So we're looking at language to call it like a benefit tax. There are avenues we can follow to make the state pay us quarterly for what we've done.
Okay, oh, okay.
Otherwise, we have no way
Right.
of recovering any kind of revenue to even start paying Raybrook out. It took us 150 years to get to be in a development thing. It'll take us overnight to go broke.
Yeah, right.
So what you were saying, correct me if I'm wrong, the state would pay for us to bring the water to the door, but they never said they're going to use the water.
And that has only been said to me by this Mike O'Neill,
The reason,
never by Keith Rupert.
okay.
So that's why I went to Assemblyman Jones and I said, when you're down in Albany, find out if the red flag is up for closure. He came back to me and said, Derek, there's nothing going on. I said, then why did they say, tell Verizon, get your towers off their water storage tank?
Yeah, that's.
There are signs that, yes, it is.
But I'm just saying, they will cover the cost for a portion, like a substantial amount of that. We just won't generate, but there's a potential.
We won't
for us
have
not to
revenue.
generate revenue from it.
O'Neill did agree, he said, listen, I could see $75,000 or $80,000 a quarter, for instance. And once we draw water, you still get your quarterly payments, but we pay $5 per thousand or whatever. So there are provisions where the state realizes they can't have it all for nothing, but in return, they are paying for the upgrades to get the water there.
Yeah.
So it helps.
No, I did that, it makes, it's like I said.
The problem is the cash flow.
Yeah, sure, no. No, I tell you, no, I just wanted to see what the
And
advantage
it's Bob
of.
Hafner, I'm gonna run and get my book to tell you when that.
So
Red Brook Water Fire District.
Raybrook is part of fire district, yeah. So while he's doing that, the other conversation that I had with the village treasurer and the village manager, Derek was kind of part of it, is that in that water district, as I said, we haven't charged taxes.
Right.
Neither have we paid the village of Saranac Lake for any work that they have done in the past, if any.
Okay.
So you can see that starting to come through at some point in the near future. And I don't know if that's just a lack of oversight or because of management and whatever.
Transition.
So that part of our budget might start seeing some movement. Like there's nothing in that water district. There's no money there at all. So we have to start raising taxes.
So it's, we have to start paying, we have to start charging.
That makes sense.
Which goes back to also the consolidated sewer district is the same scenario. We just finished paying off the debt in that, so we don't have to raise taxes. But if we have to pay for that line instead of having to go back on the sewer rates, then we will have to raise taxes there again. And that will affect our tax cap levy. So there is the possibility that the board's going to be looking at overriding tax cap this year for the first time.
But like, well, that, we have to increase the rate.
We don't do the rates, the village does.
I know.
That's their budget.
But that's the point, as I said.
Let them do it.
Yeah, let them do it.
That's what I'm saying. Let them raise the rate.
The village-
They keep all the money.
I have a feeling the village is going to.
What are they gonna turn over money to us?
No, we don't know. They raise the rate enough to cover the cost of doing that
Right,
lining on the
right.
sewer line.
They do the work,
So they borrow.
and they get, and they pay for it.
I don't think they have to
Rates.
borrow money. I bet they have it in the bank.
Yeah, but either way, so that we wouldn't do the work, they would do the work, increase the rates, town outside of village.
There's already been conversations that like
Yeah.
the town is going to see
So
some.
it's something to keep in
Oh,
mind.
yeah.
There's a
There's the option. I would rather see it go on the rates.
Wednesday, September 6th, so next Wednesday at 9:30. Is that possible?
I think so.
I just think you might like to hear.
Is that here?
Yep,
Okay.
at first Brad and I were gonna drive down there to Shackner's office, but they wanted a chance to get out of Dodge, so. Yeah,
Yeah, I'd rather see the sewer.
I'm
That do the work.
assuming when they
Collect
say,
the money.
but, so the question for the village and Brad would be if they increase the rates, it's the rates for all of the outside village users, not just that particular area, right? I mean,
Oh,
you
yeah,
can't-
because there's two, there's basically, as far as I know, there's
So
only
basically,
two rates.
it's the same, it's
Yeah,
the same
right.
idea, it's just whose budget does it flow through?
Right.
It's flat.
It's the same people who are gonna be paying for it. It's just, does it go through the town under tax roll, or does it go through the village in their sewer rates?
those are the two options.
Right. The only two I know of,
Right.
and we would have to take out debt.
Or-
So,
I think that's what Brad's getting at.
but that would end up costing
On the backs
the
of people.
users more money, I would think, because
Well, I know the village isn't moving to spend one more nickel on anything.
I think they're pretty well maxed out on their debt too. We're not maxed out on our debt, but I think that they're getting close.
The only thing I'll do
With that.
before we go is give Sydney the chance to ask us any questions.
Right.
Not if she doesn't get out the phone in 30 seconds.
I had one more thing that didn't involve Kathy, so.
If you guys don't have anything for me, all right.
So my thing was related to transfer station, because you said you had a good conversation
With Jen Perry.
Yeah, so Jen Perry, I want to be like, who sends emails at 4:30 on Friday? That's how I forgot about it. So She.
AM or PM?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say school admin does, 3:25.
No. Friday night, 4:30, I'm not able to send them.
So Jen Berry, that's her name,
Yep.
right? She's with Anka and something called composting,
Good compost.
whatever.
Good compost. bad
Something about
compost,
composting at Anka, and it sounds like they basically just want to help facilitate the transfer station with any expanded composting processes.
I think they'd like to open up the ability for residential compost to come in.
Yeah,
And they have new management plans on how to handle it properly and stuff. And, she realizes we take all the manure from the horse shows, so we're used to dealing with it. But this process of dealing with fresh organics is different than just running down with the bucket loader and stirring up the stuff. So anyway, she'd like to create a.
but, so obviously the key person here is Shannon, who was included on the email, but also did not respond. And in fairness, I didn't respond because I forgot about it until today, when I was like going through things, and I was like, oh, I gotta ask Kenny about that. And so I forwarded it to Ken, I said, hey, can we talk about this at workshop? And he said, I won't be there, but he said, I'm gonna put it back on Shannon, because that's more
Yeah,
her,
that's right.
which
Then
is
you're looking
fine.
at an FTE as well. Staffing to run the thing.
Oh, I don't know what any of it entertained, like, I don't know exactly what Jen envisions there.
Okay.
Derek had the conversation with Jen.
Yeah, mostly it's just putting the right people together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put Shannon.
To explore it.
And I think what she's got is her finger on the button for grant money
Right.
to create.
Create the
Yeah.
It's similar to like the
And I did talk to her
Just
about,
low, I think it's like low tech.
Yeah, I think it's just.
I talked to her about
Standing order
BJ
is
wanting to
something
be
over there.
involved on a biodigester type of thing. And she said, I'm not in the
Yeah, there.
climate smart end of things anymore. And she said, Derek, I have to be honest with you, because I'm on this lower organics end, I no longer would be the person to support the biodigester, because that would steal everything from, yeah.
So either way, I think it's worth the conversation, and I guess the reason why I wanted to bring it up, because I am actually not a liaison for transfer station. I don't mind being involved. I think Jen just reached out to me because Kevin, it's also become an issue because the pub and brewery in Big Slide have a problem with their farmer is no longer taking the spent grain.
Right.
And so, because I had the connection, Kevin
remember that.
Litchfield reached out to me. Yeah, I remember about that, also about that.
I remember.
And I can tell you, Tom Duper has to pick up all the grain from Raybrook Brew House. And it gets pumped into the sewer. So those organics are not an easy one for us to take.
Which is not a good thing.
But Shannon has been good about working with the pub, and it hasn't been overwhelming. But I think that Jen has different ideas on how to handle it.
Okay.
I know she charges regular tipping fees for it, which.
Can put you out of business.
Sure.
So I don't know what the next step is for that. I'm happy to be part of the conversation, but it's you two, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'll step aside for you for compost.
Okay. Like I step aside for beautification.
Sydney, do you catch on to a little drama here?
It's good drama.
It's passive aggressiveness that goes on.
Yeah, really, yeah.
Passive aggressiveness, it never conveys well in text, it's like sarcasm.
That's why every text is passive. I'm constantly triggered. I don't know why.
Something you should see a therapist about.
It's so hard to find
Somebody finally talking about it.
I'm not even joking. I'm 3 for 3.
Yeah, we all perceive that big meeting. That's pretty good too.
You keep burning them out, huh?
Sydney, if you got any questions?
Let me tell you my problem.
You heard today, or-
I'm sure I will eventually, I'll probably think of them tomorrow morning.
These last Wednesdays of the month, department head workshop, so it's a wide variety of what you're gonna hear. We're a little bit more focused at our regular town board meetings, which will be next Tuesday.
Right,
But it will be in the Saranac Lake Townhouse next week.
okay. I think there's a school board meeting
I'd be sitting.
that day.
Whatever, if we see you, we see you.
So you might.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Home?
On the scales, I don't think,
It depends on where my editors want to send me.
Oh.
if Hatgate's in session, then it's better go there.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is more entertaining. I understand you're having to make the choice.
Well, it's funny, my parents are both middle school teachers, and so I've gone to my fair share of school board meetings back home, but ours are a lot more dramatic. I went to my first one here a couple weeks ago, and like everyone agreed with each other.
Yeah,
It was
it's
really
pretty
good.
dull.
Yeah, there isn't, unless there's like that, when you're talking about wearing hats or something
Or
else.
warming sheds.
Warming sheds. Sometimes there was a mask issue early on. And
Well, like back home, we've had a lot of book bannings, and my mom's the librarian.
Oh.
There's been all that. and-
Hasn't gotten crazy like that.
Yeah, I came to the school board meeting here, and they were like, so we've eliminated single-use plastics. Where am I?
You could always break it
Yes.
up. I noticed some of the titles in your library.
The scene inappropriate.
Break it in.
So your email